Hey everyone, so I just wanted to do a sort of thank you for sticking with me for 2 long years. We just hit 2 years on the Planeswalker Project about a month ago. A little late on that, but and I just really wanted to say thank you for everything. I've been doing a lot of thinking back on how much has gone on in the last few years, and it really does stand to show just how far we've come. I've been looking back at some of like the first videos that just were absolute garbage. I didn't know what I wanted to do back then, and I know some of the ideas I've been looking at. I have them right here because I'm so prepared. I've been thinking about revisiting some of the old ideas that I've done, namely like the keyword and set mechanics, because I know with a lot of newer players, one of the biggest obstacles is learning like the keywords and mechanics of every set, because every set introduces like a billion new mechanics, and a lot of them are really hard to understand for newer players. And I thought about revisiting some of those, starting to do some of the older sets, explaining some like the evergreen mechanics that we always see, and then as we hit the new sets like with Dominaria, like doing something covering those mechanics. And like it's there's a lot of stuff that I look back at, and it amazes me just where I was then and then where we've come to now. You know, I started, for a lot of people who don't really, they're newer to the channel, I started it back just after my grandmother died, and there was a huge fallout in my family. I left my house, I moved in with my girlfriend, and there was a lot of really heavy feeling that I'd been dealing with, and I still do deal with it. And so in a lot of ways, I sort of threw myself into Magic. Like, I'd been playing it as sort of my main game, but when everything really went topsy-turvy, I really just started really dedicating myself to the game, and it was just sort of a coping mechanism. And, you know, I joined the MTG Amino, which I think I did a video on that ages and ages ago, and it just, the people there, they were so nice that, you know, they encouraged me to, because I was starting to think about doing a YouTube channel. I'd had one before, and that's long dead now, but they were like, yeah, you should do a channel, that'd be cool. And like eventually I did like, what was my first tag? Looking at this, Rafik of the Many, which is actually, he's still here. He's still mostly the same he was back then. I think there was a few cards I added in, like Sigarda's Grace or something like that. And from there, a lot of people started coming to the channel. And then I did Sigarda. I started doing them like every other day. Like, at the time I was only working part-time, which really wasn't the best situation financially, but like, I was just trying to bang one out every other day, and admittedly some of them were kind of not good. Derevi, sorry about that. And eventually I started doing Pauper because I was starting to play Pauper, and it just, I loved my Pauper Elf deck. It's actually over there on the table right now. I have to re-sleeve it, and it's just, it's so crazy to look. And then I did a short little 3-video series called Building Pauper, and that I think was the big turning point, because I remember we were down at Point Pleasant Beach in New Jersey, and I remember we were taking a bathroom break or something, and I was sitting outside waiting for them, and I remember looking at my YouTube little inbox thing, and I had seen that the professor, like Tolarian Community College, subscribed to my channel, and it was like, yeah? And I remember, let's see, is it on this one? There was one where he actually commented, and it was one of the most like, yeah, here we go, people outside, by the way. It was like, and it was just like one of the craziest experiences ever to see, you know, to see him comment on a video, like, you know, because I looked up to him like early on, and a lot of people do compare me to the way he styles his, and I think it's a lot with like the inflection and whatever, and it was just really, really crazy. Like, that was such a moment of, I'm on to something, I'm doing something right for the first time. And then, like, eventually I started shifting, because at the time I think Popper Fox started up his channel, and I just was like, you know what, I can't keep up with what he's doing with Popper content. He's doing it way better than I could ever imagine, so I'm just gonna, he can do that. And I started going more towards Commander, and I think it was at that point where I just decided, you know what, I'm just gonna cover Commander content. And just because that was the format I played so much of. And from there, it was like one of the most fun experiences. You know, I do a few goofy videos every now and then, but, you know, Commander is pretty much the home base for me. And just looking back at everything we've done is just, it's really, really crazy, you know. And then, like, you know, when people like Jimmy Wong from the Command Zone follow me, when the Command Zone, they mentioned me on their video, I was a patron of theirs, it's just, it's mind-boggling to think that, you know, me, little old me, the random Jersey boy, it really did put a lot of excitement into me, like, you know. And now, like, we're in 2 years, and the channel's hit. We're well over 5,000 subscribers now. Like, I have it private because that's, to me, the numbers I don't like the idea of, like, you having your numbers public so that people can be like, oh, he's only at, like, 2,000 subscribers. His content's garbage. Like, that's not the right way to look about it. Ristic Studies, Magic Man Sam, he did an article a while back, talking about, you know, your subscriber counts, and like, really, that the numbers don't really matter, to be honest with you. It's not really a race to get the biggest, like, but to me, it's always like, I have it public to myself, obviously, for just so I know what I'm looking at, and it really hits home to think that well over 5,000 people in this crazy community have thought that the stuff I put out was worth hitting that subscribe button for. Like, that really feels good, and like, you guys are the best. And then I've tried pushing lately to be more of the welcoming part of the community. You know, a lot of people, maybe not the best comments about it, but my intro of, like, you know, hey guys, gals, and NB pals, like, all that sort of thing, which, by the way, if you're aware of Thomas Sanders, may have ripped it off from him. It's not a bad thing, but it's just, I've, like, with Wizards is doing this thing right now where they're raising money for a LGBT fundraiser group, something like that, and I looked at the comments on the page of the fundraiser, and when you see just how many people are grateful and, you know, enthusiastic that Wizards is putting a stand like that, you know, being like, today, in today's world, like, there's a lot of, you know, a lot of doubt and a lot of fear that goes on with people. You know, it's not a very happy world right now, nor has it been in a very long time. And when you have fears within yourself about yourself, you know, in terms of your LGBTQ, a lot of people live in fear because of who they are. And it's not anything that, you know, they're thinking, oh, how can I change? It's not that. it's, you know, I don't want people to find out, or I don't know how they're going to treat me, because it can get bad, and it can be scary for people who are part of the community, you know, to feel this isolation. You know, depression affects a lot of us, and one of the worst feelings in the world is to feel depressed because of who you are and know that you can't, it's not something you can fix, and it's just something that you just have to hide to yourself. And, you know, maybe you're one of the lucky few who can come out to your family without having to, you know, fear of repercussions of it. And I know, at least with the Magic community, one of the things that I've really felt happy about looking at now is within like the past few years, they've really tried to ramp up the efforts to, you know, make people feel happy and welcome, because there's not a lot of that out there today. And, you know, if I can do my part to make this community feel a little more welcome to people, then I'll do it. You know, I feel like I've been conditioned enough, and, you know, I'm empathetic enough with a lot of these things, and, you know, I've been there, you know. So again, like, my part of the community is open to everyone. You know, if you're going to be a nice person to everyone, you know, give people a chance. Get to know them before you judge them. Just something simple like that. It's not asking a lot. I don't think so, at least. You know, and it's just, it makes me feel like I can do something for the better of the community as a whole. I know I did contribute to the fundraiser for this because, you know, A, it's for a great cause, and, you know, I just want to help support a community that's willing to help others. Now, going forward with the next year, because right now I am full-time, so I try to keep a little bit of a consistent schedule. I try to at least get one out a week. I try to get at least one video out each week. A lot of people might have noticed and come to the channel, I've started to do a new series. Not really a new series, but I've really just kind of rebranded the tech videos, the commander theorems. Actually, a coworker of mine called him that he watched one of my videos because I told him about it, and he's like, "Oh, I play Magic, I'll go check it out." And he referred to them as a deck theorem, and I'm like, I'm thinking that sounds really cool. You know, that sounds a lot cooler than deck tech or deck profile. Let's call it that. So, and I'm also really big into like the whole analysis of commanders. Like, whenever I'm looking at building a deck, I'm always trying to look at, well, what's going on with these guys? What do these cards do? What is this commander capable of? I know a lot of people really liked the Duran tech we did a few weeks ago, just because it went in such a different direction. It really didn't do a whole lot of what Duran is known for with the Infect. Nobody thinks of Infect when they see Duran. They're just like, oh, he's just going to play Tree Folk with big butts, whatever. But that was something that really resonated with me, because I was just like, let's try this really unorthodox build of Duran. And it just worked so well. And so I always try to do that now. Like, I'll always try to consider at least one wonky strategy for something. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. And more often than not, it doesn't. But I'm going to try and start doing more commander theorems. I'm in the talks with a few other creators about doing Magic Online commander games. I definitely need to start getting my money in control so I can, you know, afford that. Because, you know, I don't want to. I have Seaton right now, and as much as we all love land destruction in Commander, it really doesn't always go so well when you're playing against Commander Dames every week, you know. But it's just, and even that, like, you know, when I first started doing this, like, I had no idea that I was going to become somebody of some merit in the community. You know, I didn't think I'd hit 5,000 subscribers. I didn't think I'd be going for 2 years and counting. You know, I have a pseudo-professional setup in the bedroom. I'm just doing this on the camcorder because I'm kind of coming off of a bad day. So it's more of just, I wanted to just record something on the camera. But it's just crazy thinking about how far it's gotten and how many people I've been able to interact with, you know, like bigger websites like EDHRec, and you know, they actually have interacted with me, and that's just so cool to think, you know, these people who I just admired from afar for so long, I'm actually, you know, I tweeted them and they tweet back at me. Like, that's crazy. Like, it's really a nice feeling. And I've been rambling, and my camera battery is about to die, so I just want to wrap this up by saying thank you, all of you. Like, this has been the most incredible 2 years. Like, I don't want to cry, but it's been fighting it there, so like, thank you guys so much for this. You guys are, all of you, I freaking love you. So again, I'm gonna try and get a commander theorem. I want to cover Joyra and a few of the other new commanders from Dominaria, especially Evra. Evra's my new favorite. I'm working on that. But anyway, thank yous for 2 years, and here's to the next year being even better. So I'll see you rock stars later.